What if I told you the secret to getting rich isn't about working harder? That's right. It's not about physical work. Well, how do I know? It's because I've lived it. And in this video, I'm going to share the path that I was on and then the shift that I've made to start generating real wealth for my family that you can copy as well. And if you're new here, I'm Dr. Jeff Anzalone, a dentist on a mission to get you to the point that work is optional. Don't forget to grab my free passive income training. I put the link below this video. Let's get going. So let's start where I began. Maybe this sounds like you. All right. So here we are and we go to school. Maybe you're like me, you went to dental school or medical school, law school, some sort of professional school. Okay. And if you did that, more than likely you ended up with a lot of debt. Now, you spent a lot of years of your life and a ton of money to get to this point that you are now. But here's the catch. Looking back on all this, you can't get your time back, right? Now, when I finished dental school and my residency to become a periodontist, I had $300,000 in student loan debt. I was 30 years old and I was looking forward. I was basically looking at the path that everybody else was on. Everybody else seemed to follow. All the dentists, all the specialists in my area, not only in my area, but online or other people that I knew. I go to meetings. This is what they would do. They would go and they would work until they're 70 or 80 years old. So you're looking around, you're seeing all these people do this. So I just thought, well, okay, that's what I'm going to do. That's how this works. So I planned to work. So right here, I was 30. Let's say I planned to work until I was 70. I planned to work for 40 years. And just like everybody else. And here's the thing, I was hoping that my 401k was going to be sufficient enough so I could live out my golden years happily ever after. Because again, that is when I was talking to people for the first 10 years of my career, that's what everybody was on, okay? Then the turning point happened. So about right here, when I turned 40, something happened to me to completely make me rethink everything when it came to finances, money, everything. At this time, our kids were about 8 and 6 years old. We went snow skiing. Unfortunately, I had an accident. I injured my arm. That was, to me, made me rethink my career, rethink my profession, rethink my actual physical ability to work. Because as a dentist, if you can't use your hands, you're screwed. You can't work. You can't put your feet in somebody's mouth. So that was actually the moment that changed my life. So this entire thing right here, we're going to label this the old Jeff. So all this was the old Jeff. This may be the path that you're on. This may be what you've been told. That's not a problem. Today we're going to fix that, okay? So the old Jeff believed that wealth came from working 30, 40, 50 years, whatever, saving in a 401k and waiting decades for compound interest to pay off. Is this a terrible way? No, this is fine. This is the path that most people are on. If you're on this path, that's fine. If you want to stay on this path after this video, that's fine. I just want to give you a different option. This is what I had been taught from people like Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, and others. To work hard, go your career, but again, what happens if something happens where you can't actually work? What do you do then? You don't ever think about it until that thing happens, right? But then I started studying the habits of the really, really, really wealthy people. And I discovered that they do things differently. And they have a wealthy mindset. I really, up until just a few years ago, I really never heard about mindset and that sort of thing talked about as much. And the wealthy people, the wealthy mindset is they know that time is more valuable than money. Time is more valuable than money. So because of that, they set up their whole life to where they don't trade their time like we're doing up here for money. Instead, what they do is they focus on buying assets, okay? They focus on buying assets that pay them over and over again, like cash flowing real estate or businesses. This is what provides the money, not them. That doesn't take them physically to be treating patients or seeing customers or clients or whatever. So if you don't really know much about assets, here's an easy way to remember this. Assets put money in your pocket, and then you have liabilities, actually takes money out of your pocket. Easy way to remember this, assets feed you, liabilities bleed you. The wealthy people, they use their assets to make money to pay for their liabilities. Again, that is a different way to think. That is a wealthy mindset. It takes a shift in the way that you think about things, okay? The wealthy use assets to pay for their liabilities. What is a liability? Your house. Wait, what? Your house is a liability? Okay. Does your house that you're living in, does it put money in your pocket or does it take money out of your pocket? Unless you're renting it out or it's on Airbnb or something like that, it's taking money out of your pocket every single month. Wealthy people use assets to pay for the liabilities like their house, their cars, vacations, boats, ATVs, that sort of thing. So why? Why do they do this? Because they free up their time. Why do they do that? Because they know that their time is more important than their money. Meanwhile, what are we doing? We're up here. We're stuck trading our time for money, but they're down here and they're freed up. Different way to think. If you want more money, if you're here, like I used to be, if you want more money, what do? You work longer hours. You see more patients. You take on more shifts. You work, you do more days, whatever. But again, what do we talk about? Time is limited and you can't get it back. For years and years, I relied on my practice up here as my only source of income. So the only source of income was the dental practice. Let me ask you a question. How many sources of income do you have? Is it your main practice, your main business, where you go to work every day? When I was on this path, I avoided long vacations because I couldn't be off that long because I still had, when I was off, I had to still pay the overhead. I still had to pay my employees, cover my bills, that sort of thing while I was away. It wasn't so much about I couldn't afford the cost of the vacation. It was the cost of my time. And again, once I started spending time around wealthy people, I started looking around and I could see the difference. They were always looking for ways to buy back their time. They invested in things like real estate that kept paying them, whether they worked or not. This shift in mindset, once I learned this, it completely changed my life. Here's another thing that I think out of everything that I've done is the biggest thing that has helped me, and I know it can help you too. It's this word, networking. Your surroundings matter way more than you think. So for years, I went to dental meetings, to continue education meetings, because really we have to. Each state requires us to have so many hours in continuing education. If you're a doctor, CME hours, that sort of thing. So I would go to these dental meetings because I had to go to get the hours. Plus I wanted to be a better dentist. I wanted to learn, come back, provide more value for my patients. But here's the thing, most of the people that were there, the other dentists, they really weren't interested that much in growth or new ideas. They just wanted to get the hours, check a box, and go back to their practice. And I spent the first 12 or 15 years, that was my network. Then once the accident happened and I started getting around other people, once I started networking with people who really wanted growth, who really wanted to build wealth, they prioritized time freedom, everything changed. I started making new connections. These connections, guess what? Helped me find new opportunities, like buying mobile home parks in my area, buying RV parks all in the Sun Belt, which now, guess what? That is providing passive income. Also, the book, if you haven't read it, Who Not How, fantastic book. That book, Who Not How, helped as well because at first I was trying to figure out, well, how do I find passive income sources? How do I invest in real estate? How do I go out and find a mobile home park or whatever? It was all these how questions. But when you read the book, instead, it recommends that you find a who instead. I found a who, which when you find the right person from networking, that's when everything else starts to fall into place. I found a who that knew how to find mobile home parks and manage them and that sort of thing, okay, from networking. The biggest lessons I've learned, real wealth isn't just about making money. It's about this. It's about buying your time back. When you go out there and you start creating multiple streams of income, not just one, but multiple streams of income, your assets are paying for your liabilities, you can get to the point that work is optional. If you want to keep your career, great, but you have a choice. Up here, you don't have a choice. Down here, you do. If you want to start a charity, if you want to volunteer, if you want to travel more, whatever, you can down here. Up here, you can't. Now, if this message that we just talked about, if it resonates with you, do me a favor. Share it with somebody else who could use it, who needs to hear it. It could change their life too. And we talked a lot about passive income. We talked a lot about real estate. If you want to learn more about my favorite investment, RV parks, then do what? Check out this video.